Hey guys! So in today's video, I really want to do a 24-hour readathon challenge. I myself have always wanted to participate in one of these reading challenges just because I really want to see how much I am able to read in a full 24 hours. Now, I don't plan on actually staying up for the full day. Essentially what I'm going to be doing is just timing whenever I read on my phone, and essentially whenever I stop reading, whether it's to eat or to do some other chores or anything like that, I will be stopping the timer and I will be only continuing it when I do start reading again. So it's not going to be the whole consecutive day of reading. It's just going to be reading for exactly 24 hours. So I wanted to quickly talk about some of the books that I really wanted to get to during this time frame. So one of them is going to be on my Kindle, and I'm currently like 68% of the way through Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So I'm currently 68% of the way through the book, and I would really like to finish it soon. One, because it's so far a really quick read and I'm really enjoying it right now. But also I did borrow this from the library and it is due pretty soon. I think it's due in a week, and I know there's already a lot of people waiting for it, so I want to be able to just finish it as quickly as possible so I can just return it early and give it to the next person. So that is one of the books I'll be reading on my Kindle. And then the other book that I really want to start reading is going to be Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. So if you would have seen my last video, if you would have seen, I have essentially started this little experimental video series on this channel where I'm going to be reading a random book subscription box book that I have gotten from the past. Essentially trying to, one, get myself to actually read these books, because many of these books I have had for a few years now and I just haven't actually gotten to them. So I want to hold myself accountable and make sure that I'm actually reading the books that I currently own physically. But I'm also trying to see if the bookish subscription boxes are actually worth it for fantasy readers and just fans of reading in general. So that's the little kind of like reading vlog experimental series that I'm doing right now. So this is going to be the next book in that series for episode 2. So I really want to get started on it because this one's a little bit thicker than the last book I read. I think this one is almost 500 pages, so I really want to just start making a dent in it. And then I have an audiobook that I am currently listening to on my phone, which is also borrowed from the library. Shout out to the libraries. Y'all should definitely check out your own libraries and just go and try and read more books from the library, not so much, from Barnes & Noble, because we really need to support our local libraries. It's very important, especially because they're free, so it's like, how many institutions do we have that are free? So the book that I'm currently listening to on audiobook is Thornhedge by T. King Fisher. And I did start this. Technically, I am like 14% of the way through. However, I started it when I was working, so I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening. So I almost want to just start it over because I'm not even like that much into it. So I kind of just want to start over so that I can actually understand what's going on, because right now I don't really know exactly what's going on. I know there's like this kind of fairy character, and they currently just met some like intruder or interloper in their little home. So So I don't quite remember what's going on there though. So I really want to just start that one over. And this one, since I listened to it almost at like 2x speed, I should finish this fairly quickly because it's only 4 hours long. And I do plan on listening to that while starting a new crochet project. I really want to try and do like a shirt, like a little like tank top shirt. I found this video by Hey Crochets on YouTube where they did a little like tutorial of this little tie-up tank top, and it looked really easy. I already watched the video and it looked pretty easy, so I wanted to see if I can give it a go and just like try it out, because I would really love to do some more crochet patterns that are a bit more difficult and that are a bit more practical. Another thing that I really want to try and crochet is a tote bag. So I really want to look into it. I don't know if I'll get to that soon. I'll probably just focus on the little tank top for now. So we'll see. So I really want to do this and listen to the audiobook because I think that would be a really good combination to do, so that I'm just like not doing anything while I listen to it. And I also just really enjoy listening to audiobooks while I do something else. So yeah, so I think that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to do. I'm just going to start over Thorn Hedge and just start crocheting.
Macmillan Audio presents Thorn Hedge, written by T. Kingfisher.
Alright, it is the end of the day and I have read for a total of 2 hours and 34 minutes and 50 seconds. So I didn't read too much today because I ended up doing some chores around my room, but I did make some progress on my little crochet project. I have made 6 rows out of the like 40 that I have to do for this little tank top. And I also, as you've seen in like one of the last clips, I also did a little bit of journaling, coloring, and then I also did some other like writing that I wanted to do. And more importantly, I finished Thorn Hedge by T. Kingfisher. It took me about like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours to finish it. Well, I essentially listened to this for the whole time that I read today, so it took me like almost 3 hours. And it was okay, honestly. Like, it's not my favorite T. Kingfisher. I think my favorite would have to be Sword Heart, and my second favorite would be Net on Bone. Those two are so far my favorites from Taking Fisher. And then this one was, I don't know, it was kind of boring, to be honest. Like, there were moments where I felt myself kind of like losing focus because I wasn't really caring too much about what happened, and I felt like it was a little predictable because it's essentially like a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, of like, Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty, but like it has like a twist to it without giving away too much and without giving any spoilers. Like, it has a twist to it, but I feel like that twist was very obvious from like the very beginning. Like, you knew pretty much like exactly what was happening and what was going to happen at the end. So yeah, it's not really my favorite, but I'm so glad I read it because I do really like T.K. Fisher. Excuse me, I'm so tired. I need to go to sleep. So that's all I'm going to read for today. And then tomorrow I will continue the clock again. And I think I'm going to focus on Bride by Ali Hazelwood because I really do want to finish that. Preferably within like these next few days. So we'll read that and then probably get started on Six Crimson Cranes. Continue more of my little crochet project. And then yeah, and then we'll see what other book I might read after Bride. I don't know if I'll listen to another audiobook because I do have Starling House checked out, but I'm not exactly sure if I want to continue that one because I did start it, but I just don't know if I'm really vibing with it, if I'm being honest. So I might look for another book to check out from the library, but we'll see. That's the update for tonight, so I will catch you guys tomorrow. Alright, so it's the next day of the 24-hour readathon, and today I'm going to be continuing with Heartstopper Volume 5, with actually I just got in from the library because I had it on hold for a few weeks and it finally just came in. So this is the first book that I'm going to go ahead and read for today. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Bride on my Kindle and essentially just read for the rest of the night. I didn't really get a chance to read earlier today, so this whole 24-hour readathon challenge is going to continue on into tomorrow and probably the next day. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. We'll see how long I read right now. But yeah, so the goal is to still finish Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And now we're also going to be reading and finishing Heartstopper Volume 5, which I think is the second to last volume, the penultimate volume, I think, which is really sad because this is a really great series. Such great queer representation, just every single character, and it's just such a cute, wholesome, yet very hard-hitting romance between Nick and Charlie, which we love. So yeah, that is what we're going to be doing right now. Their hair is so wrong. Oh my god. Mommy, I'm gonna cry. So I just finished reading Heartstopper Volume 5 and it was really good, but I'm also really sad because the next volume is the last volume and I don't want this to end because it's so good. I just love all these characters and all the queer representation and the like different ethnicities among these characters too. Like the representation and just the conversations that they have are just they're just great. And it's stuff that I wish people or society in general would be society in general would be more comfortable talking about. And I really like how it's not like force feeding you these ideas and these beliefs. Like it's really just conversations happening among these teenage friends, figuring this shit out as they grow and as they meet new people and form new relationships. And at the same time, it is like just very insightful and very important. And I love, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, 5 stars. Love it. Enough said. So now that I've finished Heartstopper, I've essentially been reading for 3 hours and 15 minutes, which is literally nothing. So next I'm going to continue reading Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and probably just gonna read that until like, I don't know, 11 p.m. probably, or at least until I'm tired. Either until I finish it or until I'm tired and I want to go to sleep. So we'll see. But anyway. Alright, so I have finished reading Bride on my Kindle. I essentially read it all last night and I just stayed up almost until like 1 in the morning, just reading Bride and finishing it up. So I have now finished another book that was on this little 24-hour reading blog TBR. And I have been reading for a total of 5 hours, 35 minutes, and 45 seconds. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We still got like, 19, 18 or so more hours to go to complete the whole 24-hour readathon. But I did want to talk a little bit about what I thought about Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this is actually my first Ali Hazelwood. I have not read any of her other books. I know she has 3 of her like romance contemporary women in STEM books, and then she has the YA book, Check and Mate, I think that's what it's called. that came out not too long ago, and then this is her first kind of like dive into the whole paranormal romance. And honestly, I thought it was pretty mid. Which I know, like, I know it's, you know, her first paranormal, and I haven't read any of her other books, so I can't really compare it or say, you know, like, oh, I prefer this one, like, I think she did a better job in this book or whatever. Like, I can't really say that. But it was kind of, I don't know, like, I kind of expected more paranormal aspects of it, especially because it is about a werewolf and a vampire pairing. So I was just hoping for more, you know, werewolf and vampire abilities and just more of that kind of like lore and that world building. I just feel like we didn't really get any of that. Like, even though they are like other species, they still felt very human to me. Like, I sometimes, you know, I would forget that the main protagonist, the female lead, was a vampire, because there really wasn't that much of that in the story. And also, at the very beginning, I was more into it, and then I just felt like my enthusiasm and my enjoyment just kind of started dwindling down the more I read. And I think at the beginning it was going to be like a 4.5 stars. Like, that's the vibe that I was getting at. And then once I finished it, it was really like a 3, like a low 3 stars, honestly. And also just the romance, also, like, I just felt like there wasn't that much chemistry between the two characters. Like, I wish there was more. I don't know, like, I kind of just wanted more. That's what I kept feeling as I was reading it and as I was nearing towards the end. I just wanted more. And then also the whole like mystery aspect of it, because the main character is essentially looking for her best friend and her like sister that has gone missing, and the whole reason why she accepts to be in this arranged marriage with the werewolf is because she thinks that he has something to do with it. So there's that whole mystery of trying to solve, you know, did he have something to do with it? Where did her friend go? All that stuff. And even that revelation and the whole explanation of it was just kind of, it was all just very mid. And like, I kind of feel bad saying that because, like, this is, you know, her first paranormal book. And this is also my first Ali Hazelwood, so I don't know if it's because this is her first paranormal. I don't know how her romance contemporary stuff is. Like, maybe I would enjoy that more than this. Saying that though, the ending did kind of imply that there would be like a companion book following some other characters in the story. And if it ends up following the characters that I think it's going to follow, I might read it. Like, I might be intrigued to read it just because I really like that one specific character, and I think it would be really interesting to learn more about them, especially with the revelation that happens at the end. So I don't know, I do want to give Ali Hazelwood another shot because I do want to read Love Theoretically by her. That's really like the only other book that she's written that I'm kind of intrigued about. And I know a lot of people had it as like one of their best books read in like 2023. According to Katie Coulson's iconic video anyway. But yeah, so that's the only other Ali Hazelwood book I would be interested in, because Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain, I'm like, I don't know what it is about Love Theoretically, but I'm more inclined to read that. So I might give Ali Hazelwood another shot, but no promises on her being a favorite author or any of her books being a favorite. So, but that's it so far. So again, another kind of roundup of the books that I've read so far. So the first book that I finished was Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. The second book I read was Heartstopper Volume 5, and then now I have finished Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So now we gotta find the next book that we're going to read. And I did another book from my library came in from my hold list, and it's A Psalm for the Wild Built, which I have also heard some pretty good things about it, and I think it's a short book, so I think it'd be a good quick little read. And then I also do have my the Six Crimson Queens that I do want to at least start in this little vlog, even if I don't end up reading that much, and I definitely don't expect to finish this in this vlog, but I at least want to get started on it just so that I can make some progress with it, because it is a chunky one. So yeah, those are the plans for now. Oh, and I also did make more update if anybody cares on my little crochet project. I'm on row, I think 10 or 9. So I completed 2 more rows. Now I'm going to start on row 9. We only have 30 something more to go. So that's definitely, I'm definitely not going to finish it in this vlog either. This is just a fun little project for whenever I get the crochet itch, you know? I can just work on this. It's looking pretty good so far, so. I mean, it's also really easy stitching. Like, it's literally just single crochet, double crochet, so easy peasy. So anyway, we're going to go and do that, and I will check in again once I start reading something new. Hey guys, so I'm back with more reading updates for the 24-hour readathon. I have officially read for more than 14 hours, and I now have 9 hours and 35 minutes left. And I decided to switch over to a timer just because I feel like it'd be a lot easier to see and just really register how many hours I have left to read. So I wanted to come on here and give some updates as to what I read and what I finished reading after Bride, which I think was the last update that I gave. So since then, I have finished 3 books. 2 of them are mangas. And the first book that I read after Bride was Calling on the Matchmaker by, I already forgot who. It was, let me see. Calling on the Matchmaker by Jodi Headland. And the reason why I read this book was actually because I saw a post on Instagram talking about it, and the way that they described me really just hooked me in, and I immediately had to go and check it out. So I went ahead and I bought it off of the Kindle store, and I really liked it. I already finished it. It was really good. It was a really fun time. So essentially the book is about this Irish family who has immigrated over to the States, and it follows the oldest daughter from the Shanahan, is that what it's called? Shanahan family, who has been who is being pushed by her parents to get married and settle down. However, she really doesn't want to get married because of something that happened in the past in her life, which she essentially blames herself for, and because of that she doesn't think she is worthy of creating a family of her own, and that is the big reason why she doesn't want to get married, and instead she really wants to join the convent, and she really just wants to become a nun instead. However, because she has gone through so many betrothals, and she has essentially found a way to just scare off all of the bachelors that have shown their interest in her, the parents have decided to call on a matchmaker from their little small town in order to help find a perfect match for her. And the person that the matchmaker finds for her is actually the like hero of the town, because he is always jumping into danger to help out those who need it. For example, there was this one scene where she actually, this happens in the very beginning of the book, so it's not necessarily a spoiler. She essentially falls in the middle of the street and she is almost run over by someone riding a wagon who has lost control of it, and he jumps in and saves her and like rolls her away from the middle of the street. And that is their first meeting together, and ever since then the matchmaker has decided to match them up and is just trying to set them up and make sure that they end up getting married. And the whole time, she is trying her hardest to get him disillusioned from her and not want to get married by her, but he is very captivated by hers and he is just refusing to quit and is just pursuing her. And in that moment that they have together, they eventually start to catch feelings for each other, and so on goes the book. And it was just really, really good. This is a historical romance, and it is essentially set in the like mid to late 1800s, and it's so good. So there's the whole trope of the arranged marriage kind of, and then there's this scene where essentially what really got my attention and what really got me to pick up the book from the Instagram post that I saw was that essentially he gives her like a fake list of things that he dislikes in a romantic relationship, because she asks for it from his sister in order to try and get him to like not want to be with her and to call off the engagement. And he finds out about it, and he essentially makes up this fake list of all the things that he supposedly hates. Some of them including like holding hands, hugging, kissing, like all of that. And she essentially takes the list very seriously, and you can only imagine what happens next. So that was something that really caught my attention from the post, and that's why I decided to pick it up. And I'm so glad I did, because I really, really enjoyed it and I really had a lot of fun reading it. So if you're someone who really likes historical romance and who likes like just really funny incidents between the two main love interests, and just a really fun, like cute, very wholesome, very like sweet romance, this is definitely one that you should pick up. This is not spicy at all. Like there are a few like steamy moments, but it doesn't get spicy or anything. Like it's just very like, it's more of a fluffy romance per se. So that was one of the books that I finished reading. And then the two mangas that I read, one of them was A Condition Called Love, and then the other one was volume 1 of Apothecary Diaries. And for A Condition Called Love, I decided to pick it up just because I saw that the anime is starting to air on Crunchyroll. So, and I had heard a few people talk about it before, like on Twitter. So I really wanted to pick up the manga before I watched the anime, just to see if I was going to like it. And so far, I feel a little like meh about it. The first volume didn't really captivate me too much. I feel like I really need to read a few more volumes to try and get into the story a little bit more and see if I actually want to continue reading it. However, I will say that I am really interested in the protagonist, the female lead, because it seems to me, I mean, I know I shouldn't assume things or presume things about people, but it seems to me like that character could potentially be asexual or aromantic, just based off of the way that she talks about romantic relationships and like crushes and just love in general. Essentially the whole like premise of the manga is that there's this girl who has never fallen in love, who has never like had a crush on anybody, who has never experienced like the whole butterflies and the whole like flusterness that you feel when you like someone. She has never experienced that in her life. And there's this boy in her school who is very sought out for and who like everyone is falling for and like wants to essentially date. However, he is a bit of a weirdo, and because of that, he's a little bit of an outcast, because even though he is very handsome and everybody wants to like be his friend and like be with him, once they do and they see just how like weird he is and just how like quirky he is, they kind of just get turned off by it and they decide to just leave him alone and they don't want anything to do with him. So this girl essentially is one of the first people to openly go up to him and talk to him without being weirded out, and is continuing to kind of like talk to him and hang out with him. And he has decided that he now loves her, and like he thinks that she is like his soulmate because of the fact that she is like really the only person who is like not afraid of him or isn't put off by him. So he's trying to pursue her romantically. However, because she has never experienced that kind of feeling, that kind of want, she doesn't really feel the same way that he does right now, and she's really trying to work through it. And so in volume 1, they essentially try to give each other a chance and try to see if they could be more than friends. So that's where we are right now. So I'm really interested to see how the manga continues and whether or not the main female character is actually going to be able to figure out whether or not she is someone who could feel romantic feelings towards someone, or if maybe she's, you know, going to have an epiphany or discover that she may in fact be asexual or aromantic. I don't know. Again, like that whole, like the whole asexual and romantic idea is more so from me and just my interpretation of her feelings and the way that she talks about love. So it's not like explicitly in the manga or anything like that. That's just what I think is going on with her character, but I don't know. Then we'll just have to continue reading the volumes to see if that is the case. And then the second book that I finished reading was The Apothecary Diaries Volume 1. And I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of Apothecary Diaries because the anime came out, I think it started airing like early this year. And it has taken everyone by storm. Everyone loves it. There's already like a season 2 announced, which is great because after reading the first volume, I love it so much. I love these characters. I love the storyline. It is so interesting, and I honestly can't wait to continue reading it. I'm going to continue placing the following volumes on hold from the library and just read them as they come in because it is so good. It's so fun so far. It's like really funny. It's really smart. There's like political intrigue about it. There's potential for a romance. There's a smart, intelligent, independent, like badass female character, which I love. Personally love reading anime or manga and watching anime that follow very strong independent female characters. Those are my favorite kind of protagonists. So I already know that this is going to be, it might be one of my favorites, honestly. Like this has big potential to be one of my favorites. It follows this girl who is an apothecary who actually gets kidnapped, who gets taken and gets sold into the inner court to essentially be like a maid And because she is a maid, she gets wages, but the wages that she gets actually go to the people who like took her in and sold her. So she is essentially trying to live a very like quiet life until she is able to either escape or like buy out her freedom and go back to being an apothecary and go back to her dad. So right now she's trying just to like blend in and hide within the shadows so as to not catch any attention from anyone and just kind of live off her days doing that. However, because she is like the only girl there, the only like maid there who can read and write and understand all of that, and because she has, you know, background knowledge of medicine and illnesses and all of that, she is essentially she essentially figures out that someone has been poisoning the emperor's new children, because there's a boy and a girl, and there were many children before then, but all of those children died when they were still babies, and the same thing is essentially happening to these two newborns. And she essentially figures out that someone has been poisoning them, and she sends anonymous message to the mothers that, you know, someone is poisoning them, be careful, etc., etc. And they essentially figure out that she is the one who figured it out and who sent the message. So now they have hired her on to be a lady in waiting for the what is it, concubine, or the emperor's favorite, essentially, like the one of the ones who had one of his children. So that's where volume 1 is, and I believe the rest of the volumes is essentially just going to follow her and her new like position in that inner court where she is now a lady in waiting, and she now has access to herbs and other little medicine things, and she's essentially going to help out in any way that she can. So right now that's essentially what's happening, and there's also like a bunch of political intrigue and all that, obviously, because she is within, you know, the emperor's court. She's right in the middle of it, so sounds really good. And then from the clips that I've seen from the anime, I haven't started watching it yet because I just really want to catch up to the manga first and then check it out. But it looks really good, and it looks like there might be potential for a romance between the apothecary Mao, I don't know how to say her name, but between her and, I don't know what his title is yet. I don't know if he's like some kind of official or something, but someone from that works within the court too. His name is Junshi. So it looks like there's a potential for like a romance plotline there too. So I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited to see how that unfolds. And anyway, yeah, that is essentially what I've been reading recently. And I said before, I have 9 hours and 35 minutes left of the 24-hour readathon, so I'm just going to continue reading on for that time. I know I have Apothecary Diaries Volume 2. That one is available for me to read now, so I'm probably going to read that next. And then I also bought from from the Kindle store, I bought Married to a Pirate by Athena Rose, which I also saw on Instagram. Somebody posted about it. And they posted about how it's this girl that essentially gets married off to a captain, and it's in 18th century England, and it is a dark fantasy romance. So it follows this girl Georgette, who was set to marry a handsome prince, but then a bunch of ruthless pirates end up invading the palace and taking her captive, and so now she is forced into a marriage with the most feared pirate captain, Captain Stone, and she essentially is trying to find a way to escape her current situation. However, she herself falling deeper in love with the one who captivated her. And she essentially finds herself falling more and more in love with him as time goes on. So that honestly sounds really good. I love captains. I love the story. Or captains? Well, I do love captains, but I love pirates specifically. So any story about pirates, I'm all for it. So I'm really excited to see what that's about and whether or not I'm going to like it. So I think I'm going to read that, and then Apothecary Diaries, and then I still have to start Six Crimson Cranes. I haven't started that yet, and I know I said that in the beginning of this video that I was going to try and get started on it, so I might do that. I might read like maybe like a chapter or something just to get into it, because that is going to be the next book that I have to read for my little our book subscription boxes worth it or not that I'm doing. So we'll see about that. But I think first I'm gonna read Apothecary Diaries because I really liked it. And then yeah, we'll see. So I will come back with some more reading updates as I continue on reading. Hey guys, so I have some more reading updates. I know the last time I mentioned that I was going to start reading a book on my Kindle that was called Married to a Pirate. And I just wanted to come on here and say that I have actually finished that. And I have now read a total of 20 hours. So I have 4 hours and, or around 20 hours. I now have 4 hours, 14 minutes left to read. And Married to a Pirate was okay. It wasn't like my favorite. It wasn't like the best written book or the best pirate book by any means, but it was just a fun, enjoyable time. And I finished it last night, and it was okay. It was a good way to just read and just kind of get lost in a book. It involved a lot of like mythological and more like fantastical themes as well, because there was like sirens and there was like mentions of gods and demigods and all that stuff. So it was both rooted in his history because it's set in like, what was it, like the 1800s or something like that, in England, but it also obviously talked about mythological beings too. So I had both like historical, fantasy, romance kind of thing going on. And like I said, it was okay. It was fine. I read it. I gave it 3 stars. It's fine. But I also read volume 2 of Apothecary Diaries, and I am happy to say that I am thoroughly loving this manga. And I honestly think this manga is going to be a new favorite of mine. And I really can't wait to get volume 3 and 4 and 5 and all of the rest from my library. They are currently on hold, so I'm just waiting for them to become available for me to read them. But I am really, really liking the story. Like, it's so interesting. I love Mao Mao. I still don't know how to say her name. Mao Mao, like, I love that character. Jinshi too, he's just so funny, and he's so, like, he has a lot of audacity, but like a really funny kind of audacity that, you know, like, kind of just gotta like roll your eyes and be like, oh, Jinshi, you know, classic Jinshi. But I'm really interested to see where the story is going, especially between those two. Because I'm really hoping for a romance to blossom, and I think it might. I think it will. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to read more. So now I just have to figure out what I'm gonna read next. And I also don't even remember how many books I've read since I started this video. I feel like I've read like almost 10 now, haven't I? It definitely feels like it. I feel like I've just been reading and reading. But anyway, so I only have 4 hours left. So we're almost done with this whole little 24-hour reading challenge going on. And I'm honestly in the mood to read physically. Like, I really want to just hold a book and read. So I think I might get started on Six Crimson Cranes, because I know I said that I was going to hopefully get started on that at the beginning of this video, and I still haven't. So I should probably at least read like the first chapter or something. So I think that's what I'm going to do right now. I just have to find it. Alright, so I got to six. I got Six Crimson Cranes right here. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and started. Hopefully I like it. I think this is YA. And I'm gonna be honest, I feel myself kind of drifting away a little bit from YA. Like, really the only YA that I still really enjoy is the YA that feels a little bit more like new adult or like adult, where the characters feel a little bit older. So I think really I'm more into like new adult books, but hopefully, you know, the story is really good and it's really interesting and it just hooks me in. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I will, you know, update you on this. I also need to make a separate vlog for this with more thoughts. Because this is the book that's for my little series that I'm doing. That's like, are book subscription boxes worth it? And do they actually have books that are curated for fantasy lovers, as they say that they are? So that's what I'm trying to figure out, and we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get started on this and get back to you with some more thoughts once I've read a little bit. Hey guys, so as you would have seen in the last clip, I started reading Six Crimson Cranes, and I actually made it up to page 180 with the remainder of the time that I have, which I believe was like a little over an hour for this little readathon that I was doing. And actually since then, I've essentially continued reading more of the book because I'm really enjoying it. And I'm actually now on page 290. So I'm on chapter 27. Yeah, that is the conclusion of this little 24-hour readathon challenge that I was doing for myself. And honestly, I'm surprised at how many books I was able to read in like the 24-hour time frame. I know it wasn't like consistent 24 hours, but the fact that I'm able to read so much in a day is crazy. And audiobooks definitely help, ebooks too. And most of the books that I was reading were pretty short too, so obviously that helped as well. But even then, it was just really nice to get back into reading, and I definitely feel a lot more motivated this year in comparison to like last year or even like 2 years ago, where I was kind of like, or I fell into like a really big reading slump and I just wasn't really reading. But now I'm really wanting to pick up physical books, especially. And that's something that I haven't done in a long time. Like, I've mostly just been listening to audiobooks just because it's easier. and I'm able to listen to them at work, so that helps a lot too. But yeah, I've really been like itching to just like hold a book. So it's great because I have a lot of physical books on my TBR that I own, so I can finally get to them. Alright, so before I go, I wanted to first give you an update on my little crochet project, which I started at the beginning of this little challenge. And this is something that I've been working on and off ever since I started the challenge. So I wasn't working on it like as I was reading, obviously, because I was reading, so I couldn't. But I did want to just show, because I, mentioned that I was going to start it, I did want to show my progress. And I have done almost 40 rows. I think I'm on like 32, like row 32 or something. So I'm almost done. And I honestly think I might need to do a few more. And after like I reach the 40 row, because I'm not sure if this is going to be enough to cover like all the way around. Although I don't believe it's supposed to cover like everything, because I also have an idea of kind of tying it all together with like a ribbon, just to make it easier to kind of like put on and stuff. But yeah, but this is eventually going to be a tank top. It's going to be a like spaghetti tie-up kind of tank top. So this is obviously like the shirt itself, and it's going along pretty well. So yeah, so that is the progress. And then before I sign off on this video, I did want to do a little recap as to all the books I read during this video. And I believe the first book that I started reading was Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher, and that one I gave 3 stars. And then the next book that I started reading was Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and that one I gave 3 stars as well. And then after that, I believe I read Heartstopper, Volume 5, the penultimate volume, and that one I gave 5 stars because, of course, it's Heartstopper. And then after that, I believe I started reading Calling on the Matchmaker. That one I gave 4 stars. That one was really fun. I really liked it. And I honestly can't wait for the sequel companion novel that I believe is going to come out later this year. Immediately going to start reading it as soon as it comes out. And then I read some manga. I read Apothecary Diaries Volume 1 and 2, and I gave both of those 5 stars. And honestly, I think that series is going to be a new favorite manga series, and also eventually once I start watching the anime, it's most likely going to be a new favorite anime, because I'm really, really loving the story so far. And I've only read, actually I think at this point I've read, no, and I've only read like the first 2 volumes essentially. So I can't wait to continue on with that series. And then I also read another manga, and it was A Condition Called Love, Volume 1. And that one I gave 3 stars. And I am thinking of continuing with it, just because I'm curious to see where the story goes and whether or not I'm going to become more invested, because right now I'm a little so-so on how I feel, but I feel like I need to read like maybe like 2 more volumes to actually get into it and see how if I'm really going to like it or not. And then the final book that I read was Married to a Pirate, and that one was also pretty so-so, to be honest. The beginning was promising, and then halfway I just kind of started to lose a little bit of interest, and I wasn't as invested as I was in the beginning. and overall I was still pretty meh. I mean, it was a nice, like, enjoyable time, but definitely not a favorite, and it's definitely not a series that I want to continue. I believe it's like technically ongoing series because the second book follows the characters from the first book, but they're not the focus of it. So it's like a sequel companion, but also like ongoing from the first. I don't know. It's a bit because like the focus is on two other characters from the first book, but like you still get to see the OG protagonist from the first one. But either way, not invested enough to continue it, so I'm just going to, leave that series there. So, in total, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I read 8 books, and I gave 4 of them 3 stars. I gave 3 of them 5 stars, and 1 of them 4 stars. So honestly, not bad. I would have preferred a little bit more for 5 stars, but it's fine. It's fine. The point is that we get to read some more books this year, and I am getting closer and closer to completing my goal. I actually think, I'm not sure, but I think I actually might have passed my goal already. Let me double check. I did. I've surpassed it. I've made it past 20 books. Let's go. So I think now that I've completed my initial reading challenge for this year, I'm going to strive to read. I'm gonna try to read 50 books this year. I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change my reading challenge goal. By the way, if you want to follow me on Goodreads, the link's in the description. FYI. But yeah, I'm not gonna actually change it. I'm just going to leave it as is. But I am going to, in my head, change the goal to 50. 50 books. I think I can do it. Listen, if I read 25 books at this point in the year, I think I can do 50. Especially because, like I said, I'm really in the mood to read physical books. So, yes. And I'm going to also try to listen to more audiobooks too, because that's just really helpful and it just works for me, or like when I'm at work and stuff. So definitely going to continue doing that. So yeah, I don't know, I might do another reading challenge later in the year. I don't know if it'll be a 24-hour one again, or it might be a little bit different. I don't know. I'll have to see what kind of other challenges people are doing, get some ideas, and see what we can do. But yeah, so that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me going on this little reading journey. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!